Good morning, Dima. How are you doing today?
It's what?
How are you doing today?
Oh, okay. I'm doing great. I thought you said it's Tuesday. I'm like, no, it's Friday.
We could be in Tuesday of next week. There's really no telling.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. So glad everyone that's here with us already. We already got 2 viewers. Thank you for tuning in. And look, we need your help. We need to create a little bit of awareness about what we're doing, right, Dima?
Yes.
So we could use your help. And we could definitely use your help with, liking, sharing this, commenting on this during the show as well. We'd love to feature that. And then, lastly, we just started up a Facebook group, a YouTube channel, LinkedIn page. We have a lot of stuff going on, right?
Yes. So if you are not part of our pages, go ahead and like them, follow us, and we're going to continue. This is something we're enjoying so much. We're getting wonderful input about all the information and the guests. So so we're going to continue to do it even beyond that, the experience we're all living with right now.
Well, we have some, some things we can't quite talk about now, but we got some things that are in the works,
yes.
right?
Yes, we do. Yes. Yeah. And
intent.
Yes, it's exciting.
And
we also have an amazing guest for today.
No way.
That's our guest. Oh my goodness.
We got a guest today?
Yes, we have a guest. Come on.
Okay. Bam. Everybody, you must meet my new friend and Dima's pal, Johnny Ahysen. You've seen him on WAFB, and here he is on our show. This is crazy. This is a crazy turn of events. Corona has screwed everything up.
At least in this one, in a good way.
In the best way. Johnny, how are you doing?
Good morning. Yeah, Dima said we have an amazing guest. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to watch and see who it is. Surely it's not me.
Like
doing well.
And tune in.
I went back and watched several of your shows when Dina so kindly invited me a couple of weeks ago to be on the show on the 8th, which is today. And I'm like, what? And then I'm on TV every day, and I'm like, in the last half hour leading up to the 10 o'clock start, I got nervous. I'm like, I'm nervous here. What is the deal? Why am I nervous?
Don't be nervous. We're not going to ask you about the traffic or the weather today, but we want to talk
That's
to you.
That's the easy part. Wow.
Oh, man.
So tell us, Johnny, how are you doing? How have you been during this entire pandemic and all of this?
Boy, this is just, obviously none of us have ever gone through anything like this in our lives. And it was difficult at first. It was very difficult at first because we have to come on and, be a persona on TV that there's nothing going on, nothing wrong. I mean, as far as our delivery and our composure and our posture, and in the background, you're freaking out. It's like, am I going to get it? Am I going to die from it? Is it, are we going to lose our jobs? Are we going to, it's just, will we be rationed water? I mean, you start thinking of all of these crazy things. And I was telling Dima a couple of weeks ago, she didn't really know this part about me. I don't think we've known each other for a little while, just, casually, and gotten into each other's business a little bit. And it's fascinating what she does. And I want to get more, I want to move more to her direction too in life. But I have an anxiety disorder. I was formally diagnosed at 14. And when I was 14, doctors were not sympathetic to anxiety and panic attacks. And even today, they still have some challenges with it, but there's much more attention that has been brought to this in the last 20 to 30 years to where it's no longer this scary thing. You have to have it's a big stigma about it, and a big stigma about going to a social worker or a psychotherapist or a psychologist. And that's just not the case anymore at all. And so when I was formally diagnosed with this anxiety disorder back in when I was 14, I've dealt with it all my life through different doctors and different, medications and different ways that you can cope with it. But as an adult, it has gotten worse. So when the COVID thing happened, I lost my mind. I lost my mind. And then you have to come on the air the next morning, and you can't, I don't want to call in sick and let it own me. I don't want to give it power, So for me, calling in sick when you have a bad day with anxiety is not an option. So you have to get on the air and you have to really be what the viewer expects you to be. And sometimes it is an Emmy-winning act. I'll tell you that. Not the traffic. The traffic's always factual. That's the easy part. But getting on and being the persona that they have come to expect you to be, I could win an Emmy some mornings. No question.
Wow.
You're winning a Golden Globe and my heart and mind right now, man, because thank you for even saying that. Thank you for admitting that so many people feel like they have to hide that. The stigma's there. We should be going to therapy when things are good, right? So
I have a fantastic therapist because I've been in and out of therapy. I haven't had psychiatry really. It's been more of a social worker, skilled in different things. And I've had one for the last 3 years that I go to every other week, sometimes every third week, sometimes every week. But psychotherapy is not something that you're going to go to the doctor. He's going to diagnose it, give you a medicine or an exercise to do, and you're going to be well. It is not something that people need to think about as a one-time or a two-time or a five-time only deal. It takes a while to get to know your therapist, and your therapist get to know you. Yeah. And I went in for very specific issues and found out over the last several years, I've talked about everything from my personal life to my work life to my dog, my family in Texas, things that I never went to therapy for. And it's just fantastic. It's just, I have an incredibly skilled and very talented therapist, and can let you know that offline, if you want to reference, but it's nothing to be ashamed of. And everybody, like you said, even in good times, you need to go. But sometimes psychotherapy is interesting because you walk into the therapist's office and sometimes you sit there and after an hour, you walk back to your car and you go, wow, I just wasted that hour. But then other meetings you go in and in the first 5 minutes, you feel like the weight of the world is off of your shoulders. And you need a therapist that's not going to tell you what you want to hear. You're going to need a therapist that tells you what you need to hear. You need a therapist that will take time to really get to know you and know when to hug you and know when to kick you in the butt, and things like that. Yeah. And I have been real fortunate in finding one. So it's been a good deal for me as far as that goes. So I got the little anxiety medicines that take the edge off when you need it right here, but I try not to depend on those. I don't like medication. I'm on a cholesterol and a blood pressure, and that's about it. But I don't like to be medicated. My dad passed away several years ago, and he in Texas, and he had 22 pills he was taking every day, some in the morning and some in the midday and some in the afternoon and some at bedtime. And I asked his doctor on one of our family visits with his doctor, I said, are these pills killing my dad or are these pills keeping my dad alive? And without cracking a smile, the doctor said, yes. Yeah. So there's a heredity element. There are certain things you're not going to be able to do anything about without the medication. There's a friend of mine in Texas that is a marathon runner, and she is 55, I think. She has an incredible physique, never been overweight a day in her life, doesn't smoke, never smoked, has not done recreational drugs, and she eats very well, and she cannot keep her blood pressure under 200 over 100 without medicine. And it's just something her doctors have told her, your family has done this to you. It's a heredity, it's a gene. And with you, there's absolutely no amount of lifestyle that's going to change you. Most people, however, I found can be very effective in lowering cholesterol and lowering blood pressure with lifestyle changes, even if there's a heredity element in that, I found. So I'm kind of between the two. I've got the little bit of heredity, but I don't have the situation where a friend in Houston has, where she has to be on medicine. So if I could get my tail outside and run more and get, my eating habits in a better position, I can promise you I can lower or get off of the BP. There's no doubt.
Yeah. And I know right now, Johnny, you're trying to help a lot of people with the topic of anxiety. You're trying to use everything you learned in your journey to help others, especially during this time. So tell us about your show. Tell us about what you're doing.
Yeah, helping other people with anxiety has just kind of happened accidentally because I'm so open about it, but I don't volunteer this. Dima and I were talking the other day, and she said that Rob, you and Dima were talking off camera one day about how people that have anxiety disorders might be dealing with it. And then she called me to say hello one day and kind of shared the idea about the show. And I'm like, wow, you don't know this about me, because I don't openly share it. But if somebody asks me about it, I am not ashamed to very verbally go out and, share it. But I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. All I can do is share what has worked for me. And if something clicks with somebody and they can use it and it helps, that's fantastic. But I don't play therapist. I don't play armchair psychiatrist or psychologist. Not my job. Don't want to do that. But when people do have some issues with anxiety, and I've found through the years that there are people that have anxiety issues as bad or worse than mine that you would never know. You would go, you're the last person. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think back to some of the celebrities like Robin Williams, for instance, and how you would never think he battled with depression and anxiety and panic attacks and things like that. And it's just so much in our culture. And I think it has a lot to do with the way we live. Mm-hmm. I think now that I've slowed down my anxiety with regard to Corona, when we started with the Corona, I was way over here. I was a neurotic basket case, taking my temperature 4 times a day, tracking on a grid. I wish I kept it because I wanted to show you, tracking on a grid, the daily numbers, the deaths, tracking on a separate grid, the new cases. Wow. And it got to the point where it was counterproductive. It was just not helping me at all.
Why did you do it? I mean, that's a coping mechanism, right? Is that what that is?
I don't know. I mean, for me,
you feel in control. I mean,
for me, I think a lot of my issues are control issues, no question. I have worried in my life more, and when I look back, a couple of things. When I look back in retrospect, in the high 90 percentile of things I have worried about, never, ever, ever, ever happened. Okay, and the things I've worried about in the 90 percentile were things I had zero control over, so I don't know what that is. We haven't really, that's an interesting question for my therapist week after next, but was it a coping mechanism? I don't know. I wanted to see how high it would go and then see it start leveling off and seeing the infamous, flattening of the curve. I wanted to see that.
Yeah.
But I was taking mail in from the mailbox with a mask on, gloves, putting it on the tailgate of my truck, wiping it down, taking the gloves off, bringing the sterilized mail in the house. And I'm doing less of that now. I'm still not getting out in the public. I haven't filled my truck with gasoline since March 24th.
Oh, wow.
And that irritates me too, by the way. Well, I know. The gas prices are so incredibly ridiculously low right now, and I can't go anywhere. And then when we start relaxing and be able to go somewhere, the gas price is going to be $4 a gallon again. So I find that very odd.
So Johnny,
so I quit taking the temperature 4 times a day and went down to twice, and then went down to once, and now I haven't taken my temperature in 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, I threw away all of my grids. I do not watch the governor's press conference. His daily press conference, which now is 3 times a day. I know when it is in case I want to go back and watch it. I'm finding for my mental health, I have to do the self-talk. I have to constantly tell myself there's nothing I can do. Be as diligent as you can, heed the warnings, and live your life. I'm trying not to give it power.
Yeah.
But it's easier said than done with people that have anxiety issues, you know what I'm saying?
Well, especially now when we're talking about reopening the state and going back to work. So how do you feel about all of this, and what do you think you'll be doing personally to help you through that?
I am very much against it. I'm scared to death. Now look, I have income coming in, and I am blessed with a company that is trying to maintain employment for their employees. It's Gray TV. They're based out of Atlanta, and the CEO is a gentleman by the name of Hilton Howell. And Mr. Howell sends out emails that go out corporate wide all over the country, to everybody from the lowest to the general manager and vice president of companies every week. And he has been very, very upfront with this. And he cited examples in the past of things that were very detrimental to the economy, where they did not have to do layoffs or furloughs or reduction in salary. And he is very upfront saying, we can't say we're not, but right now we're not expecting that to happen. So I preface I'm going to get to your answer, but I preface that by saying I am blessed with a job that allows me to go home, isolate, set up a temporary studio, work from home, and they have afforded me the opportunity to log on to remotely past the firewall into our very private, secure network at work, so I can have the tools that I need to do my job. So what I'm about to say, I say that by prefacing, I got an income. There's so many people that when they don't work, they don't get food on the table. When they don't work, they don't have their health insurance. They can't put gas in their car. So for those people, and I pray for those people daily, especially the entrepreneurs and the mom and pops, but even the people that work at the big corporate that have been laid off or furloughed or had to have a cut in salary, I feel for them and I understand that. But to answer your question very bluntly and very directly, from my standpoint only, having prefaced what I just said, I am not, I think we're doing it too soon. I don't think there's enough understanding about this virus. There's certainly not enough treatment that has been proven 100% going to cure this. We will not have a vaccine for another 1.5 or 2 years. I think we're doing it too quickly. I just do. And I understand and I'm sympathetic to the people that need to get back to work, but I just think we're doing it to answer your question, Dima, it's happening too fast, too soon. And that's my anxiety speaking too, a little bit, I think.
Yeah, it is scary, especially since a lot of people forget about what we had to deal with the last 2 months. Yeah. And now we're ready to go for parties and events and barbecues and doing all kinds of things. And that's what scares me the most, where
well, you saw a spike 2 weeks after Easter when people got together with family. Oh, they're my family, they're my friends, with no regard to the fact that they could be a silent carrier. And we did see a spike a couple of weeks after Good Friday when everybody did the crawfish boil,
Yeah.
So
I've been having anxiety about sending anyone back in the line of fire. We're an essential business. We're an IT, technology, infrastructure, communications. I mean,
thank you, by the way. That's why I can do my job from home.
Well, I had no part in that, Johnny, but hats off to everyone on your team that's making that happen, and the people behind the scenes that don't always get the credit. And but that alone, I'm sure, much like you said, your CEO is sending those weekly reports. I'm worried about sending my people back out in the open. What does the new client experience look like? And honestly, my anxiety came. I had a wave of it come over me because I couldn't find enough PPE. I heard a rumor that we might, be sending a client or sending our employees back at some time, and I had like a week or so, week and a half to make some moves. And I was so worried at what was available to me. The resources weren't there, and I'm making judgments, right, based on the information at that time. So my anxiety, the only thing I could control was what I could procure fast enough. And then half the stuff was undeliverable, unavailable. It was shipping delays or got canceled midstream. So some stuff did get delivered, and I finally got some today. So that's been a 3-week struggle, and I'm worried about sending my people back in with the right training, the right tools to keep them safe and sane doing their job. So
Rob, you don't suffer from an anxiety disorder, though. You're just having normal, healthy anxiety during an anxious time.
I can't truthfully, honestly answer that. I have never been diagnosed. I have been to counseling. I've not seen a psychologist for that. But I had you might remember, Johnny, but in 1982, there was the Pan Am flight 759 that crashed in Kenner, Louisiana.
I was working at WJBO and WFMF and actually covered that.
I was supposed to be on that plane, man. And so I didn't find out. I was 2.5 years at the time, 2.5 years old. But I found out years later. And immediately I knew what a panic attack was when I see this newspaper clipping that my family gave to me, that I could have died at such a young, I wouldn't be here. And I had a fear of flying for so long. and anxiety. Anytime I had to, it was always, you can tell with anxiety, it's always mixed, right? It has mixed emotions. You're on this crazy spectrum, because the only way for me to see my dad was to fly. He was across the nation. So for me to get up and do that built up anxiety before the trip, but I want to be happy about going, and then all these other things that come into play. I mean, for years I had anxiety about flying. I still do. I might mask it, but just like me, I'm the true case study of someone that probably has the issue, haven't gone to get it tested, and I can't truthfully tell you if I am or not, but I have panic attacks occasionally, maybe not as debilitating as some others, and I don't take medication for it, but we all have these tendencies, and I'm so glad you're talking about this. So keep talking about it, Johnny. This is what we need to do, right?
Well, especially you, Johnny, because a lot of people, they love you.
Yes.
They're watching you all the time. And then when you are coming and sharing with us your personal experience, it's deep. It makes sense compared to a random person that nobody knows about.
Seeing Johnny talk about this is different than Dima and Rob talking about it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you are.
It's really weird because, thank you for that, Dima. Thank you so much for that, because I do my job. I love my job. I've been in radio my entire life. In TV sought me out. I would never have chosen television as a career. And to this day, I love radio better than TV every day of the week and twice on Sunday. But the opportunities for local just isn't there. And it is for television. So, but I was, I do my traffic and things like that. I was walking my little Yorkshire Terrier in the neighborhood when this kind of first started, and I first started doing from home. And a husband and wife were walking in the neighborhood, and I don't know a lot of my neighbors. That we're all going in 90 miles an hour, so nobody gets out. They're out now. It's like growing up. I mean, I'm a lot older than both of y'all, but growing up, you saw mom and dads walking in the afternoon. You saw kids playing kickball and hacky sack, and you saw families walking their dogs, and new parents pushing their strollers, and mom and dads with wine walking around the neighborhood. You saw that growing up in the 70s and 80s. You don't see that now. Now you do. This is kind of forced us into that. So I was out and about, and the neighborhood's just so active in the afternoon. And this lady walks by, and she went, I know you. Somebody told me you lived in this neighborhood. And I'm like, hi. And we kept our distance. And she said, boy, it just really can't thank you enough for what you do every morning. And I said, yeah, somebody's got to do the traffic, And she went, no. Forget the traffic. Hearing your energetic, charismatic voice every morning gives me a sense of calm. It makes me realize we're going to be okay. And I'm like, I'm getting goosebumps. That's a huge responsibility that hit me like a ton of bricks, probably for the first time in my career that day. It's like, wow. She goes, we know you. You're like part of our family. And I'm like, and I realized that afternoon, and I shared that with some folks on a little Zoom call that I work with later that day, that we have a bigger responsibility than delivering the news, weather, sports, and traffic. So much bigger. And it's like, I take that very, very seriously, but even more so now after that comment, because we've been taught that when you get a comment, negative or positive, there's probably that many people and more that won't say anything. So that just stuck with me for some reason. It just like, what? That's crazy. So I try to go on and do the best I can. I try not to be fake. They can sense that. People can sense fakeness. People tell us all the time, I can't believe you and I were arguing this morning on the air. Diane Deaton, our weather person. And I said, look, what you see on the air is what we get off the air. I mean, it's just, we fight like brothers and sisters, and we love like brothers and sisters. We need to have consultants from out of town tell us, I don't have a TV station that has the chemistry that you guys have. It's just scary. It's weird, So I don't think it's weird at all. We're just ourselves,
That's so great.
The good, bad, and the ugly.
Johnny, for our viewers, the ones that have been experiencing anxiety, and the ones that are starting to experience anxiety with everything that we're dealing with, because imagine, we're so terrified for our health, for our family, our well-being, our jobs, our financial security. All of this is being challenged right now. So what tips do you give them based on your experience, based on what you're sharing with others? What would you tell them to do that may help them?
Have a routine. even if you're not on TV, but you're working from home, get up in the morning, shower, shave, men, put clothes on, maybe not a tie, but put dress clothes on or slacks and a shirt, put socks and shoes on. Okay. That's a huge thing. That makes me feel like, okay, I'm at work, you know? So have a routine that you stick to every single morning. Create routines. Don't get up and go, well, what am I going to do? And when am I going to do it? Literally. I mean, I keep my day timer. I don't leave my house. I'm not even leaving my house, but I keep, you know, my day timer, and I try to stick to that. Another thing that I've done very specifically, and it really helped me with this book. This is a book by a lady named Terry Saville Foy. She's a cheerleader of dreams. I mean, she's just convinced that if you can dream it, you and God together can do it. And this is called Dream It, Pin It, Live It. And you can see I've got the tabs through here, and I've got it highlighted and all marked up. One of the things that she says in this book is keep a gratitude journal. And I talked to this with my therapist a few weeks ago, and he goes, oh, he sat up in the chair. He said, oh my gosh, you have no idea in the mental health industry, the studies that are being done about the positive real life effects that can happen if you keep a daily attitude journal. I went out this morning, we were on the air at 4:30, and I stepped out to my backyard, and it, you know, because I want to tell people, hey, it's a gorgeous morning. It's breezy this morning. Cool. And I just stood there and took a deep breath, and I went, oh my gosh, I've never thought about not being able to catch my breath. And I wrote that down in my attitude journal. You know, thank you for, you know, whether it's God or a higher power or whatever you believe in, you know, keep an attitude, a gratitude journal, and write down anything. You know, I was thankful for being able to take a deep breath. So, you know, number one, get up and dress. Number two, have a game plan for your day. Plan out your day. Number three, surround yourself with positive, motivational material. I've got books and books that I read. As a man thinketh, so shall he becometh. This is a great little book too. Bob Berg and John David Mann, The Go-Giver. Fantastic book. I've read that twice. Oh, I like that. I haven't read this one yet, but I bought it because I like the title. People can't drive you crazy if you don't give them the keys. Fantastic. Max Lucado is a guy that is a United Methodist. He's a theologian, but he writes for, you know, interdenominational. It's not overwhelming you with Christian stuff, but he's got a neat book called Anxious for Nothing, Finding Calm in a Chaotic World. Not written during COVID, but there's a lot of things in that can help. This guy, Jim Stovall, I've had the privilege of meeting him and seeing him on stage several times. Not Coach Stovall. This is a guy named Jim Stovall. The Art of Optimism. Jim Stovall has a huge history about wanting to be a professional baseball player, a professional sports player, but was losing his eyesight. And they kept telling him, there's nothing we can do. Eventually, you will go blind to where you can't see anything. And indeed, he did. And he was sitting in his little 4x4 room one day doing a pity party. Long story short, this guy pulled himself up by his bootstraps, completely blind, formed an organization, formed a television network, wrote a ton of books, is now all over the world on the speaking circuit. And you'd never know he's blind by what he does and how he does it. I would recommend this book to anybody. This is a good friend of mine, Dima Rob. One of the people on the back says an inspiring journey to triumph, and it's called Shattering Limitations and Daring to Thrive. It's Breaking Vases, and she gave me a cool bookmark too that I absolutely love. But I've read Dima's book, and you'll get inspiration out of this, and she'll tell you where to get it. But Dima Gowie, Breaking Vases. I would recommend that book.
Thank you. I recommend it too. Yeah.
So those are just some of the things. I'm not going to get all Christian in your face. I'm not a Jesus freak. If you called me a Jesus freak, I would be very much complimented. Thank you. But I'm in this book every day, every single day, somewhere, maybe for 4 or 5 minutes, maybe for a half an hour. It's just an incredible.
Oh, no. Johnny, you're on mute.
Hey, Johnny. Johnny, did we lose you, my man?
I think, Rob, you can unmute him.
Oh, no, there we go. Let's see.
Wait, you're on mute.
Oh, no.
Wait, Johnny.
Johnny, now's a good time to know. Oh, there we go.
Now.
I was going to ask if you knew sign language, man.
He said all the important stuff, the last 30 seconds.
But that's about it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, read positive motivational material. Don't watch the news. Now, I need to do a little asterisk about that too, because I know how we operate in the newsroom at WAFB, and I know I can trust their sources. I know that there's more that we do not air than we do air. What I'm talking about when I say don't watch the news, I call it death news. The nightly news on your major networks, the CNNs, the Foxes of the world. We covered how many people in Louisiana were getting healed from the virus, and I cannot tell you how many emails and Facebooks and texts that all of our employees got. And that's a story. Yeah, we need to cover the other things, but that's a story. So I quit watching the daily briefings. I quit watching I call it death news at night. I won't watch the death news. It's real. It's out there. It's affecting a lot of people, and my heart goes out to them. And I just pray I don't get it. Pray I'm not affected directly with any members of my family or friend network. But I try to surround myself with positive. Do what you can do. Try to surround yourself with positive. When you feel that anxiety coming on, and an anxiety attack and a panic attack are two different things, and people don't understand that unless they have them. But I've got both. Thank you very much. But if you feel start doing the positive self-talk. Take deep breaths, close your eyes, sit in a comfortable position. Tell yourself, okay, what is triggering this right now? What is triggering this right now? And if you can identify a trigger, try to eliminate it. Or if you can't eliminate it, learn how to deal with it. You've heard all your life, and it's so true, and more studies have been doing that. Breathing, deep breathing, hold your breath and let it out very, very slowly. That will calm your body down. I don't know how medically or physiologically it works, but it works. Everybody's different. I literally write down stuff that I think are triggers. I keep this by the bed, and I keep a pen by the bed. Middle of the night, write something down, take it out of your mind, and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Have a little flashlight, because I've written in the middle of the night and gotten up and go, what the heck? What did I write? So keep a flashlight there by your bed. But I've started to learn to embrace the anxiety. I've started learning, okay, this is not that bad. So I said at the beginning of the call, I was over here just neurotic about it. I've pulled in. I'm not there, wherever there is, but I've definitely pulled in and started to say, okay, there are paradigm shifts going on all over the world right now. People are doing things that they never thought they could do in ways they never thought they could do them. I think at the end of the day, whether this is next month or 2 years from now, I think some of these paradigm shifts are going to become permanent for a lot of people, entrepreneurs, as well as a lot of corporate people. Yeah. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm starting to look at some of the positive things about working from home, and not going out as much. I'm saving money on food and gas. Go to the grocery store, order and pay online. They put it in your trunk. You don't have to touch anybody. Anyway, so there are positives that can come out of this, and God love you if you're personally affected by this, and heaven forbid have had any loss of life due to this, because it is a real deal. I don't get into conversations with friends of mine that want to talk politics about it and want to talk conspiracy theory and all of that. I'm not going to go there. That's another trigger for me, that if I start doing the what if, I'll lose it. So I've started to identify that that's a trigger. I've put 5 people on 30-day Facebook hold in the last month. I don't know if I'm going to defriend them, but I put them on the 30-day timeout, if you will.
So good.
I just don't want to be exposed to it.
I unfollow forever, so at least you're kind. You're giving them a time frame.
I follow both of you, so.
Oh, that's so great. We like that.
Well, I think it makes a lot of sense that you're also limiting your inputs to control the output too, right? And
I can't control the coronavirus, but I can control my what's coming into my life regarding the coronavirus. I don't want to stick my head in the sand and ignore it, but I don't. There's ways to do that and still be able to function.
I heard a good analogy about build your fence yesterday, and of course we're all at home staying safe, but build your fence around the things that you can and cannot control, like you were talking about before. Build that fence. Control who's coming through the gate. Control what is coming through the gate, what you let come in. But also be comfortable in those boundaries that you've set. And build your fence.
I love that. I haven't heard that analogy, but that is so spot on perfect.
It was blowing my mind yesterday. Yesterday was transformative. So that helped me. And I hope that helps.
Power and control, right, Rob?
That's it.
That is powerful. I heard another thing just this morning that I wrote down. It's awesome, and it has nothing to do with really coronavirus. But Dima's a motivational speaker, and would love to get into some of her programs too to learn more about getting on that kind of circuit. But so I read a lot of things like that: Zig Ziglar, Norman Vincent Peale, a lot of these, Dima Gowie. But one of the things I heard was a lion doesn't lose sleep over what a sheep thinks about it.
Oh,
that's a whole nother Chit Chat show. That's pretty deep.
Wow,
but that's kind of cool.
Reference there. Why'd you have to go the lion route?
Yeah, tiger. Thank you. I'm going to do my own. Tiger doesn't lose sleep over what a sheep thinks about it.
That's good.
Over a sheep's opinion.
You right it.
I love that.
Yeah, a tiger doesn't get worried about the exotic thoughts that a sheep has.
Oh no. A tiger doesn't lose sleep over a sheep's opinion. There we go. I like that.
Wow. Yeah, think about how much energy we spend on satisfying and pleasing everyone around us, and also how many times we do things we don't even want. Yeah.
That's like, yeah.
If you don't know Dima Gowie's story, oh my heavens, you will be very motivated and very inspired, and you'll realize, man, my growing up wasn't so bad. It's crazy. The story was incredible, Dima.
Well, we all have a story. And there's something called the wounded healer. In order for you to heal others, like what you're doing, Johnny, right now, you had to go through a wound. You had to go through a pain for you to recover from it, to grow as a person, and also to relate to other people that are facing similar challenges. So check it out, the wounded healer. And a lot of us, it doesn't have to be a childhood issue like I had. It could be other experiences in our life that really created so much pain and horrible experiences in our life that we had to overcome them. And by overcoming them, we're inspiring a lot of other people as well.
How are you handling the COVID crisis?
In my situation, Dima or Rob?
No,
both of y'all. Dima first. How are you?
I think I'm so grateful to God, because it's just amazing how things worked well for me in some areas. So my mom had an operation on March 11th, and I flew to San Diego, and I was supposed to be here for like a week to 10 days to take care of her. And we all know what happened on the 12th and the 13th. So I'm grateful that at least she got the operation done. Otherwise, she would not have been able to do it as an outpatient surgery. And it's actually surgery. I don't know the difference between operation and surgery.
Is she good? Is she good?
And yeah, she's good. She's good. And but my speeches, or everything I had booked that I worked for a long time to get them booked, they got moved to next year. And I looked at my schedule and I'm like, I have nothing. So why would I fly back home and just sit home alone? So now I'm around family. I'm around my mom. I'm playing with my nephews. So
you're on the West Coast right now still?
I mean, yeah. And I'll be here for at least another month. So I'm thankful that it worked well for her surgery, because imagine if she got delayed just a couple of days, it would not have happened. And for me to be around family during this time, instead of just being locked home and alone with no speeches. So that's tough. For the business, it's very tough. It's very, very tough. But it is challenging me, like what you were saying earlier, to create new things. So we're going to see more people starting businesses. There's going to be a lot of demand for motivational and uplifting things. I'm moving a lot of my work virtually, starting virtual programs. So things that I've had in mind for a while that I didn't do because I was busy with life, and now I am forced to do them. So it's, in a way, as painful as it is and as shocking as it is, I feel that there are a lot of blessings.
Wow. How about you, Rob?
I mean, I talk a lot. So if you could take the last 45 seconds of what Dima said, that's the upside of it, because, getting to do this live stream stuff and getting a chance, because I've always had this desire to just show off my friends and the amazing people I've met. And look, this wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have had the time. I wouldn't have spent the money. It was always something I wanted to do, but didn't give myself the chance to get that creative outlet. This is something that I love, Johnny, and I can't wait to talk offline about all the techie stuff. But it's so, I guess it's so crazy how it's not crazy. It's very normal that everyone is dealing with things on different levels, new things, old things resurface too. We're kind of confined. We all know the variables there, but everyone's handling it so different, and everyone handles it, in different ways, and it hits them at different times. And sometimes the timing can be, the timing for me can just be off, and that's enough to throw my system out of whack. And what I had my routine going for me, and I've had to establish new ones. I've had some new creative outlets, but I've also had some, productive blocks in getting anything done. So I've seen the good side, and the upside of this is that I'm spending more time with family. I'm having a creative outlet now. I'm doing things I want to do that I didn't have time or the money that I wanted to devote to it. And I'm doing it with the people that I want to do it with. So that's empowering for me, and I love that, and I don't want to let it go. But the tough side is the anxiety. The tough side is this is straining people financially, socially, and there's not one fix. And, we were talking earlier, I really hope that we find a safe return to work, and that we can have something for the child care and our caregivers to have support. And I'm really looking for leadership to stand up to, because you've seen the leadership that's done well and performed well, and you're going to remember that. And you're also going to remember the bad experiences, the things that make you turn off the news. So I'm looking forward to us kind of all recentering after this and making the world what we can make it, Johnny. That's what I'm looking forward to, and that's the upside for me. We need to talk about something. You didn't say anything about your show.
Well, my growing up. I have I have two brothers, 3 boys and a girl: Johnny, Donnie, David, Robin. So the 3 boys are kind of we love our sister and she loves us, but the 3 boys kind of bonded. And in our family, we were like the 3 Stooges. We would walk into a family event growing up and put our arms around each other and go, hello, 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 or whatever. So our family is nicknamed, the 3 boys, the Asian Nation. My last name is Asian like nation, so we named it the Asian Nation. Well, fast forward 40 years later, I'm here in Baton Rouge, and my work family, not knowing that, calls me around the station. Hey, Asian Nation's here. Good morning. What's going on? So I've got our design people working on some things for a background similar to the Chit Chat background, and I've already done 3 or 4 shows similar to this where we would but I'm trying to keep it on a lighthearted note. I do a lot of volunteer work with Parkview Baptist, and they have an incredible theater department here. And every spring, they put on an incredible musical, and it is every bit as good as something you'd see in New York. They blow me away. Well, they were going to do Beauty and the Beast this March, April, and they obviously can't do it. But they kept the rights to it, and they're going to try to do it later in the summer or maybe even in the fall. So I'm going to have some of their key actors and actresses and the theater director, Lori Kaiser, on the show for half an hour or so. That's in awesome. Little squares. And we got some right. We had to go and get the rights to do this, but they're going to sing some of the key songs from the Beauty and the Beast that they were going to sing. Ray Gaspard is a guy here in Baton Rouge that's been in the theater circuit for years and an incredible actor and television personality. Going to get him on and talk about things. I've got a friend that, Dima, I think you know her, Manners of the Heart, Jill Rigby Garner.
Yes.
And I want to get her on one of my shows talking about anxiety in children and how how parents, because I'm not a parent, how parents are dealing with, kids that are wondering what is going on. My world is upside down. This is weird. So anyway, just things like that, just, not real deep and serious, but when we have a topic, we'll get deep and serious with it. But so we've done a few of those. I made a homemade background. It certainly didn't look near as dressy as this, but and technical problems, kind of learning on my own. But that's another thing that's helping me with my anxiety is challenging myself to learn new things. I'm on the I'm a drone pilot, a private pilot, but I'm a drone pilot as well for Channel 9, one of our drones. And to fly a drone commercially, you have to have a commercial pilot license. And you have to get the written part of that license redone every year. You have to go down to the FAA, the field office here in the Baton Rouge airport, take a written test, and then they send you your updated license. Well, I'm studying for my recertification online. When we get a chance to get out and about, I'll go take that on the at the computer lab. I ran across not Bumble and not some of these others, but I ran across a very affordable Spanish class. So I'm trying to learn another language, and things like that. Daily reading, set aside times of the day where you're going to read motivational things, spiritual things. Health is a big deal. I've started getting out in the neighborhood a lot more. I'm doing the Couch to 5K app, where it's teaching you how to go from never running in your life to running a 5K in a couple of months. Things you can do with keeping social distance and yet keeping active and keeping your mind engaged. That's so important. If you have any anxiety, whether it's short term due to COVID right now or something like what I have, is keep your mind engaged. Keep your mind engaged. You do need time with yourself. I always try to avoid time with me. Downtime, quiet time, alone time, because that's when I start going to what if. But now I'm starting to learn how I can do that in a healthy way and address me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people, but you do need to keep your mind active. That helps me stay away from me. But I do realize now, turn the TV off, turn the radio off, sit outside on the patio quiet, and have time with you. And don't be afraid of that. Don't run from that, like I've done so many years and still do today to a degree. But I'm learning those things through COVID. So I'm trying to embrace COVID to teach me, what am I supposed to be learning from this? Whether it's God or a higher power or whoever you believe in or whatever you believe in, there's got to be a reason for what's going on in each individual lives. And we've shared some of that, the three of us here today. So embrace it as much as possible. It's a horrible thing, but what it has done to our society, embrace the change, embrace that, and learn from it and go forward a different, better person. Beginning of this, I used to go in March and early April. Man, I can't wait to get back to normal. I can't wait to get back. Now, I don't want to go back to normal. I want to get back into some degree of normalcy, but the normalcy is going to be very different forever and ever, amen, than what we were doing before. So I'm ready for the change. I'm ready to slow down. I found out that slowing my life down after I got out of the initial panic about it is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
That makes any sense.
Wow. So Johnny, you are an amazing motivational speaker.
Oh, I take after you, Dima, but not enough.
So amazing. Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. I feel so inspired and motivated. Thank you. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing all of these messages that none of us knew about it. Like, we're experiencing these things, and it's going to inspire us as well to heal and to address them. So thank you.
Oh, bless your heart. Well, this has been a blast, and I'm going to watch your show now every, 3 times a week?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm barely doing once a week, and that scares me enough.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
We didn't talk about show anxiety because I didn't have a bio for you last night until super late, but we got it done.
I'm not worried about all that, but I got to tell you, I had show anxiety this morning, all morning long on the air doing traffic. I'm like, oh no, it's getting closer to 10.
And look at you, you did so amazing.
Oh, I don't know Rob very well at all yet, but I'm looking forward to getting to know you. But I know Dima, and Dima sets the bar way high.
I mean,
I'm just saying,
it's off screen.
I'm just saying. I love her.
I love you too.
Me too. I love her too, and I love you, Johnny.
Thank you, Rob. I love you. This is awesome.
I can't wait to talk more stuff, but I just have to thank you for sharing. I mean, I wish more people talked about it and kept the awareness and the dialogue going, because until then, we're all going to think this only affects us, or this problem is only, I'm the only one with this issue. No one can possibly understand or have been in my shoes before. And I think the reality of it is there's probably way more people than you would ever know that have
well,
this.
There's way more men. A lot of women are more open to talk about their feelings than men are, just historically speaking.
Good point.
Yeah, there are more men that are clamming up. Then you're faced with suicides, which is a whole nother show. Lost a very good friend of mine that I never thought would be suicidal in November before all of this started. And it was I'm still dealing with that. That was a major life event for me. November, December were not good months. But when I look back on them, they were growth months. You know, through pain, if you allow it, comes growth. You can't build big biceps without having to work them. And working them is going to hurt.
Yeah.
Why not emotional? Emotional growth oftentimes stems from pain and tragedy. And we don't like to think about it and look at it that way, but that's exactly what happened to me in November, December. So,
wow. We're definitely sorry to hear that, Johnny. And I'm glad you're here talking about it today.
Yeah, thank you.
And lastly, I know, look, Dima's going to kill me when we get off the show because we go in like 50 minutes. Okay.
Amazing. I want to keep going.
Don't tell me that.
It doesn't feel like it's been that long, but when I watch some of your other shows, you get so involved in them, you don't know time.
You don't know. But you know,
and what are the three of us going to do?
You've compelled me, though. Johnny, you've compelled me because you talked about men clamming up and men not talking about this. And you've plugged Dima appropriately today. She needs more plugs, okay? And I'm so glad you did it the way you did it. But Orhan McMillan runs this group called Manfulness Living. And Johnny, we need you to be a part of those. We're doing them virtual now. I don't know if you know Orhan, but you should. And will you please come talk to us or please come on our show?
I'll connect right after this.
Yes. I mean, it's all about how, what is masculinity today? What is being a man? What does that mean? What are the outside influences in it? What do we think about it? What should it be? So we really need your perspective. And I think you would be an amazing resource. Just the way you're sharing today is so
pressure, anxiety.
That is so
Johnny, this was for you, buddy. Am I safe? All right, I'm safe.
You're good. So, Johnny, if somebody wants to watch your show and learn more about the various great things you're doing, where would they go? Where would they go to see your show?
Right now we're streaming it live on Facebook, on my WAFB Facebook page. We don't have it nailed down to a specific time of the week because when we tried to lock it down for this time and this day every week, something happened like a press conference and they wanted to take my feed down and put the press conference up and things like that. So we're working on getting that done, but it'll be popping up on Johnny Ahysen WAFB FaceTime. And depending on what it does, they may stream it to our main channel and they may do some other things with it. But right now it's on Facebook, not FaceTime, I beg your pardon. Facebook, my Facebook page. There you go.
That's great. Well, thank you, Johnny. This was amazing. Thank you.
Dima, thank you. Rob, great to meet you. And we'll definitely be talking. Enjoy the West Coast, Dima. I didn't know you were way out there. I hated that you're out there. But it's okay.
I'm not missing the humidity. I can say that.
Yeah. I wouldn't either.
I wonder how much sand sticks to hand sanitizer.
Dima will tell you. Dima will have to write a book about that.
Look,
I see it in your eyes. I see a book coming out of this, Dima.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I see it in your eyes.
It's everywhere. It's screaming. Yes.
I see it in your eyes. You need it. I can see it.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thanks, Johnny. This has been awesome. Thank you for everyone who's tuned in. And look, check Johnny's show out. And look, giving Dima her credit, we've got to support Dima and her book. But right now, let's just support everybody. Let's support everybody that we can, that's next to us, around us, that we care for, and that we meet. So thank you, everyone, for joining in. Thanks for chit-chatting with us today. Bye-bye, everybody.